Howdy folks, Corky Duke Farminator here. Come with me if you want to farm. This is Farming Simulator 22, Michigan Farms Map. Michigan Pizza and Donut Farm Part 54. And gotta continue what I was doing. I think, we just jumped into May 2nd. Last video, which was 2 days ago. Took a little break yesterday. Let's see. And live streamed my other channel a couple of times, 2 or 3 times yesterday. So that was fun. Played a game I haven't played in a long time, Stronghold Crusader HD. All right. How much TMR we got now? 4.4. All right. Yeah, that looks good. Farm supply factory. I'm gonna need more milk soon. I can take care of that really quickly. Okay. Okay, so it's level 4 now. Can flour be distributed now? What about sugar? All right. I think both flour and sugar can be distributed. Good sugar too. All right. All right. Speed time up. Um, anywhere else low on strawberries? Any other production site? Holy cow. All right. All right. That should do it. Okay, we're actually looking good here. out of silage. But we get 4.6 million, so get that filled up. All right. Well, buddy.
Did you just start?
Pretty much, yeah. And get sleep.
Live stream for today?
Huh?
Is this your next live stream for today?
Yeah.
I saw you live streaming yesterday.
Did you? Cool.
Were you live streaming yesterday?
Yeah, on my other channel. 2 different games on my other channel.
I mean, you did it 25 weeks. Did you play
Didn't do farming sim yesterday. No.
Why?
Because I didn't feel like it. I wanted a little rest break from it. Oh, what's that?
Yeah, I want to get. I want you to run a lot.
Oh.
When you go for
I'm not going to for right now. I'll try and get to May 2nd quickly as possible. How are you doing? What are you doing?
I feel like I'm sick.
Do you?
It feels like I'm sick, but I'm not. Stephanie told me I'm not sick, but it feels like I'm sneezing everywhere. I'm sneezing on my grandpa's, my grandpa's. I'm sneezing. Let me show you. Don't get mad at me. I'm sneezing on this. Sneeze on this. I'm sneezing on that.
Why'd you do that?
Because I couldn't know what to sneeze. Sometimes I feel, sometimes I don't know what you do. Oh. What happened?
Saved it.
What happened?
It saved it.
What? Oh.
Look, there's a deer. Couple of them. 3 of them. 4 of them.
Oh, I'm having some. I'm having in my butt. My butt.
Lovely. Like everybody needs to know that.
And something was in my button. In my buttons. How would they turn on their live stream?
Huh? Ah. Not a good decision. Trying to do that. Okay. I forgot if there was a ditch there. I tried to go through it. Didn't work out too well. Like my truck.
Yeah,
I don't want to drive them. I think I know.
the obvious.
I want to watch me knock that sign over.
Where'd you not the front of
Oh, anyway. Some of them will get knocked over. No? Some of them you can knock over. Others you just drive right through. See? That one I did. See, I knocked that one over. Running low on grass. Ah. All right. I got too many tractors. What the hell am I going to do with all these tractors? So next time they're selling a tractor, don't buy it. I don't need one. Look at all this. Goodness sake. Okay. Farm Factory need wool? Probably. No, actually it looks good. The other factory does. The spinnery. All right. They have their own raisins. All right. Well, I finished binge watching another TV show, 2.5 Men. The last episode was very fun. That entire series was really fun. They kind of lost me for a few episodes when Charlie Sheen left the show, and it just was like, yeah, but then it got funnier. But my next one is Big Bang Theory. That's the one I'm going to be binge watching next. Okay. What was it, Kroger? I think it was Kroger. Oh, I don't have a Kroger in this one, do I? Fast food restaurant. Canola oil. 31. Canola oil. November it's going for 35, so, which is not better than 31. I don't need the money now, so I'm just going to wait. I can't rename that, can I? Nope, I can't. I'll do that idea later. Gonna grab me some coffee. All right. For some reason, when I reheat the coffee in the microwave, the handle of that cup is way too hot to handle. I don't know why, but all right, it's full. Oh, crap. Could be able to jump into May 3rd here pretty soon. And then maybe even June. Will June be harvesting barley? Yeah, it should be. Another month for the canola. See if I can turn straw into silage too. Oh, it's still filling up. Okay. Oh, excuse me. All right. All right. The spinnery that needed wool, I think. Out of sunflower and canola. Damn. Crap. All right. I'm gonna have to buy some canola. Maybe Eddie's right about my dad. Yeah. Didn't have no problem with canola in a couple of months once I harvested. We got what, three fields, three big fields too. 4 fields. 3 big fields and 1 smaller field. Got no problem with no that. Hey Austin, how you doing? Good morning. Thanks for joining the stream. Oh. I'm doing okay. Glad you're doing fantastic. Took a little break from Farming Sim yesterday and live streamed a couple of games on my other channel, including one I haven't played in a while. Ice cream's the #1 seller in December? Go figure. It's when it sells the best. Might take all of it. Is it going to take all of it? Yeah, looks like it will. We need sunflower. How many do I need? How much do I need? 400,000 there. Fill it up. I have to fill it up again.
How do you drive the car? How do you drive the car? How do
I'm
you,
filling it with sun. I'm buying sunflower seeds right now.
how do you drive the car?
How do I drive the car?
Yeah.
Very carefully. No, don't. It's filling up right now.
What's that? Beef? What's that beef? I'll just need a plant. Plant.
You got eggs?
I'll just see how the truck.
You see me in the truck?
Is it breaking now? Okay, was it see the under of the truck? Yeah.
That's good.
I'm pressing to the guy that. Oh, it was these people. That'd be
Making me
nice.
dizzy. That's enough.
How do we do that?
No,
What happened?
nothing. It's just getting full. That's a warning. Let me know it's getting full. Okay, that's enough. Stop. Settle down. Settle down.
I'm sticking. Yeah. Ah. Can you tell me really? I make it. That's fine.
Stop. Stop.
I want to push all the buttons at the same time.
No, you're not going to.
Could that happen? Is there a glitch to game on do that?
What?
It's on AI.
No.
I E E F. That's how it's done. You want me to watch the doors? I want the doors. I want the doors. Why is it making that sound?
Because it's full. It's warning me that it's full.
You want me to jump? What happens when you press I when you're on the wall? Is it gonna jump? Is it?
Not right now.
It's gonna jump on press I.
It will when it gets one where it's going.
Oh no! I can jump it!
Just past it.
I'm helping you. Help me push right now.
Yeah.
Guys, don't worry, I'm helping you. And I'm not lying. I'm helping.
He is.
How much? How much money you gonna get? Let's see how much money you gonna get.
I'm going to get him money from this. I'm filling up the oil factory with sunflower seeds.
Well, you gotta have on press I again. And it's over. Ah!
Settle down. Settle down.
I want to press I when it's on the road.
No.
Why?
I don't want it spilled on the road.
What is that? What is that? Yeah. Because this is beautiful. You gotta be in the one for Apple. What that happened to us?
Hmm?
Dangerous right now because you keep trying to hit me and I knew it. Like, come on. Tim punched me. Are you trying to punch me? Oh, yo. And we stopped him hand with mine. And then I twisted him. And then I break him hand. Then hit heel back.
Alright, should be jumping into May 3rd here pretty soon. Dude, advanced greenhouses need water. Okay. Ooh. Oh, crap. All right. You time up some more. I better pick up the wool. I think we're going to need it. Got to pick up the eggs too. Yeah, that's where the eggs are going. Farm factory. We're gonna have to pick up the cereal. Is the flour doing there? Good. Pick up the cereal and wood products. Pizzas. Ice cream. It's selling. Not even gonna mess with that. I'm just gonna sell it immediately. Cause it was like, ooh boy. Okay, chicken, honey, and wool. No honey in there. Okay, good. Honey is good. And oh, you got to pick up those finished products. That cereal, pizza flakes. Yummy. Let's go pick up the pizza flakes and sell them to your local grocery store. Hey Malachi, I'm going to pick up the pizza flakes. Pizza flake cereal. Is that your favorite cereal, pizza flakes?
Can you order some pizzas tonight?
Oh, maybe. We ain't had pizza in a while, have we? Not Papa John's or Jets. I might do that.
I want Papa John's.
Papa
Because
John's?
that's one neon. That was one neon.
Yeah, we're not going to have it delivered anymore because your grandpa's going to have to go pick it up.
I'm hyped that.
Remember the time I think we had it stolen from us? The Uber driver just stole it, kept it. Guess he liked our taste in pizza. So,
I want to order Papa John's.
yeah, we might do that.
But it's going to take too long.
It won't take too long. I'm going to pick up some pizza flakes cereal. Part of this nutritious breakfast. Stop.
Is it on AI?
No.
I want to get on AI.
Stop. Stop doing that.
Well, phone.
I said stop doing that.
I'll put the best with AI. Yeah.
No, you don't get to push that.
A light bulb. They can do light bulb.
Yeah, I need to put one in there. One of them burned out. So there's only one working.
Why there's nasty stuff in there?
Just bugs. Does it bug you?
And a pillar is holding my eye. Yeah.
Alright.
Uh-oh.
I didn't think so.
Bye. I wish you not good pit. I'm a tower, Victoria, and you can't see it. Get a face to me.
Boom! That's it.
Yeah!
Whoa, whoa. Almost lost it. Check on honey. We're good there. I don't think we need it there. Only other place is here. And we'll have to throw some in the farm factory. Alright. And this also needed the wool too, didn't it? No, the wool is good there. Spinnery needs the wool. guess I'm going a different way this time. Hey, did the honey, did the wool? Oh, I didn't do the honey. Maybe it was the farm factory. Did the wool. Ice cream shop all right with honey? I think it is. Yeah. I think we about ready to jump into May 3rd. Remember the 3 feds in this game. Make sure your animals are fed, make sure your production sites are fed, and make sure that you're fed too. All right, I do believe that be it. I took all the eggs, didn't I? Pretty sure I did, didn't I? Did I get the other one? I don't remember getting the other giant. Damn it. Did I not get them? No, I did not get them, damn it. How did I forget that? How could I forget that? Oh. Lower this way. Now we should be good. I guess if I got pizza flake cereal, I should also have donut flake cereal. Because it's pizza and donut farm. I think donut flake cereal would taste a lot better than pizza flake cereal. Just an opinion. Oh, crap. Be right back. Okay, that does it. Oh, Farm Factory was good. Yep, alright. I think we're good to go. Then saw the door. Alright, I'll be right back. Again. Alright. Alright. No, take that out of here. Go eat that somewhere else. I don't want you spilling it in here.
No, I don't want to spill on the couch.
Go on the counter, on the kitchen.
I'm not going to spill on the floor.
Take it out of here,
I'm not
Malachi.
gonna spill on the floor.
Take it out of here.
I'm not going to spill on the floor.
You don't argue.
What happened we argue today?
That's where I needed more canola. Dang. I didn't get enough. And we're out of herbicide, so I need it. Let me get some more canola. Forgot about that. Canola is needed for both fuel and herbicide manufacturing. That's probably good. Let's get it going. So we'll have more herbicide. I had a lot made, and then threw it all into the greenhouse. All right. Okay. Couple of great demands. I wonder if it froze. One was a grain, so gotta check the grains. grapes. We don't have a whole lot of them. Pretty good price for them, though. How many do I have? $134,000? Nah, ain't probably worth it. Okay. It's fertilizing day. Get out of here. Oh, finish it. You gotta finish your breakfast before you have to take this.
So hard.
What do you mean it's hard?
I found the word stuffing.
That's part of the cereal.
So nice. How's the game?
Look at that one. Why the hell did it stop there? What the hell? You're kidding me. This sign made that.
What happened?
That stupid sign made that fertilizer truck stop. What the hell? Not funny.
Would be funny for me. How did that? How? How I know about that? I think when your truck hit it on the yard.
AI is stupid.
Yeah, I think it told trying to hit the ditch and then that sound was in the ditch and then hit it over here on the top and then it crashed.
Go back out and watch TV. What is going on?
What's going?
It's off the field. You shouldn't be doing this. Why the hell is it doing it?
Yeah, be on 20.
Malachi, go watch TV.
Be on 25 minutes.
plus years of my time on Wall Street, this is an unusual amount of trading by all caps, any standards, end quote. White House deferred comment to the Trump Organization, which Bloomberg reports said that Donald Trump's holdings are, quote, independently managed by a third-party financial institutions who have control over all investment decisions with trades executed through automated processes. Okay. Continuing our conversation, political analyst, former Senator Senator McCaskill, Andrew White Crystal here. So clear that Real did it.
Yeah, really, these are personal accounts, and he's not even pretending that he's trying to follow the rules in terms of conflict. I mean, he went out like 2 weeks later and told everybody to buy Dell computers. I mean, this is so blatantly unethical and so blatantly corrupt. The depressing thing about this, Nicole, is the Supreme Court, and Andrew, by the way, it's so good to see you. Andrew can speak to this, but to what extent he can be prosecuted for this after he leaves the presidency is a very important thing for us to cover. Because any other citizen who is in public office that would do what he is doing would expect the FBI to be on their doorstep. And that's not going to happen to him or his family, and that anything could happen.
I can't wait till he's out of the White House and in prison.
This is just nuts. It just gives me a stomachache.
I mean, Cash Patel is snorkeling on sacred home in Hawaii, so I don't think the FBI is going to knock on his door. I guess my question for you is, yes, this is flagrant corruption. Yes, this is brazen. I wonder, though, if at a time when upward of 70+% of Americans are struggling financially, the corruption is planned and only a thought of that.
Well, that's what you always wonder is what breaks through. I've talked to our friends in the bulwark, and when the Alex Petty shooting happened, they said, because it was visual, people could see it, it broke through. People were like, I want to see it for myself and make a judgment. I don't need to hear from Fox News or MS Now.
Right.
And so here, when it is, all appearances look like insider trading. And by the way, even that statement, I read that as a lawyer, it didn't say.
See, we can do it.
Exactly, and it didn't say we didn't get information from people who knew what was going to happen going forward.
Correct.
And that was what you want to hear, but then you also the question is this is one where that and also basically stealing taxpayer money. I mean, mind you, what's going on now is like, why not just go to Fort Knox and just take the gold out and use it for whatever purposes you want. That is what we're seeing.
I feel like if Trump's watching you, which he often is, like, let's just stop him from just taking that as a suggestion.
Exactly. This is one where we do not have a functioning democracy. We do not have a Congress taking any steps to make this happen.
Right. We don't have Congress, but we do have some pretty strong governors out there. I'm going to bring one of them, Maryland Governor Wes Moore. He joins us from the Center for American Progress's Ideas Conference in Washington, D.C. I know you were sharing your ideas, and they were happy to hear them, but we are too. You're jumping into a conversation in progress about not just corruption in politics, which perhaps is an age-old story, but the novel development that Trump has brought us of doing it all out in the open. And I wonder how much of your time you spend thinking about the need for transparency and reform of politics.
Well, the very first executive order that I signed when I became the governor was an anti-corruption executive order that I put all of my assets in a blind trust because I never wanted anyone in the state of Maryland to ever make the decision based on how we're going to do me. And actually, I signed legislation saying that anyone who would ever be the governor of Maryland would put their assets in a blind trust as well, that we can ban prediction market trading for members of anyone who works for state government, because we know this isn't just about corruption, it's about basic trust. People actually trust you and trust what you're saying and what you're doing. And so to see what we're seeing right now in the White House is not just deeply disturbing on the face. the fact that we've had a president of the United States now making over 3,700 trades in the first quarter alone. He's basically a day trader. He's not the president of the United States, but it's also what he's loyal to the fabric of trust that we have in this country.
Governor, a lot of Democrats, a lot of Americans look to you for how you talk about some of these issues. And I wonder, when you look at the absolutely devastating poll numbers, the ratings that the country is giving. Are you able to hear us, Governor? Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Governor?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Oh, here at Noble Knight Games, carefully culled the world's largest collection of technology.
We're going to work on the governor's audio. Clara, let me ask you to field that question. When you look at the governor's talking about things that before Trump were pretty standard fare, right? Like elected officials put their assets into blind trust. So there was not that they would do anything, because there was never any question, right, about conflicts. When you look at the sort of coinciding data points of Donald Trump's collapse, he hit new floors over the weekend in two major, highly respected polls. He's nearing what Sarah Longwell calls the Bush floor, 32%, and almost awful. On the economy's numbers are way beneath that. I think every respected poll has him under 30 on questions of economic security, hope for your economic future, inflation, taxes, everything is under 30%. Do you feel like Democrats are speaking to as broad of a number of Americans? And I know our audience hates when I ask if Democrats are doing enough in this moment, the Republicans are putting our democracy through the wood chipper. But what opportunities, let me ask it that way, what opportunities do Democrats have to talk to 70% plus of all Americans?
Well, first of all, you've got to talk about the things that matter to them. And I think one of the dangers we have with this level of corruption and this level of outrageousness, whether it's the slush fund to pay off his friends, or potentially people who assaulted violently police officers, or whether it's the crypto, or whether it's all day trading, or whether it's the fact that he's not thinking straight. We get so focused on him, I think we forget about folks that are really hurting right now. And I think Democrats have to be very careful, because if it is all about how bad Donald Trump is, then somebody's going to think, well, maybe they don't realize how bad it is for me. And that's the danger there. That's the danger. So if Democrats stay focused on the messaging and the proposals that will actually relieve some of the pain for Americans, whether it's their healthcare costs, or whether it's, just something simple like, can you get to a hospital in rural America? Or can you get relief from the tariffs if you're a farmer? And talk about those kinds of things. Whether you live in a city or you live in the country, farmers' plight affects all of us, because that affects the food prices. So it's really boiling down to making it about you and not about him.
Claire, I'm going to ask you to stick around, Governor. I trust we've reestablished contact with you. I'm going to ask you to stick around. Andrew Weitzman, I want to thank you and congratulate you on your book. We'll be back on the other side with Governor Westmore. Stay with us. Hi again, everyone. It's 5 o'clock in the East, and we are back with Maryland Governor Westmore. Governor, thank you for bearing with us while we work out the technical gremlins. You're familiar with those.
No worries at all. Thanks for having me.
I wanted to ask you about the opportunity before Democrats, as people's economic situation, they report, causes them a great deal of anxiety. Less than 30% of Americans approve of the job Donald Trump is doing on the economy. And Donald Trump's corruption and eagerness to take taxpayer money, taxpayer dollars that people feel stretched to begin with, to build ballrooms and arches, now to pay out his political allies. What is the opportunity right now for Democrats?
Well, I think the opportunity is to show that that we actually care about what's happening in the homes of the people of our jurisdiction. It's like we have a president who's spending his time focusing on ballrooms and bombs and Bitcoin. Ballrooms that none of us are going to be invited into. Bombs to fight wars that none of us asked for us to be fighting, like these foreign wars. And Bitcoin that frankly none of us The only thing we know is that the Trump family are sitting on the boards of these companies and are making millions of dollars. That the thing that we're focusing on, if you look at what we're doing in the state of Maryland, we've actually now provided $300 million in relief for utility relief for families because we're watching these energy prices rise. That what we've done in our state is we're actually making sure we're streamlining housing so we can bring the prices of housing down. That Maryland became the first state in the country that now bans the usage of supermarkets, using your data against you when you go into the supermarket. So you end up paying more than the person who's next to you simply because they're trying to weaponize your data against you. And we became the first state in the country that bans that. That we're trying to focus on making sure that the quality of life goes up and that the cost of life comes down. But we have a federal administration and a White House that seems to be exclusively focusing on their own returns while hosing out everyone else.
I mean, all the things you talked about are more popular with the voters than anything the Republicans are running on. They seem to be forced to run on Trump's agenda, which is historically unpopular, which a lot of folks think explains Trump's obsession with rigging the midterms. What are you doing in Maryland on the protecting democracy, protecting the right to vote side?
All right, I'll be right back.
They're coming with me. Well, no, we've really ensured that for elections in our state, that we want to ensure that every eligible voter inside the state of Maryland is going to have the opportunity to make their voice heard. In fact, the day before the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act, which was one of the most consequential pieces of the Civil Rights Act and the Civil Rights Movement as a whole, I very proudly signed legislation, actually, which is the Maryland Voting Rights Act of 2026, ensuring that no matter what the Supreme Court says, that we are going to protect the voting rights of the people of our state. This is about our democracy, and it's about the fact that our democracy should not be determined by Donald Trump. Our democracy will be determined by the people of Maryland. And so we are ensuring that our Board of Elections, which is an independent agency, has what they need to ensure that our elections will be fair and safe and free elections where all eligible voters are not just going to have a voice, but they are going to have a vote.
Governor, my old party likes to turn to its governors, before Trump at least. A lot of people talk about you. A lot of people are enthusiastic for you to run for president. When you throw out carbs like ballrooms, bombs, and bitcoins, it's part of what they love about your leadership. Just tell me where your head is on throwing your hat in the ring and what concerns you have. Donald Trump seems to get thin-skinned and threatened quickly and easily by people who he thinks represent a political threat.
Well, I'm very clear that the president spends a lot of his time tweeting about me and attacking me. He just did it again yesterday. But the thing that's most disturbing is how much time he's attacking my people. There's no state in the country that's been under a greater measurement of attack than the state of Maryland. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have now fired over 31,000 Marylanders in the past year alone. Federal workers, people who are doing things like making sure that our food is safe and making sure the planes are not colliding. And these are the people he went after first. He's gone after our health care. He's gone after food assistance for our children. And I think the people of our state know two things. One, they know I am focused on November, and I'm focused on making sure that we can win re-election. And we are focused on making sure we're protecting our people because the president has learned, I will work with anyone, but I will bow to no one. And here in Maryland, we're just built different.
A lot of people in Maryland work in the area of public health. I remember that from my time in government. There's an outbreak of federal health emergency. Do you have any wisdom or thoughts on people who used to be on the front lines protecting not just people in your state, but everyone in the country and around the world from diseases like Ebola? Are standing in his right house.
Stop. Go watch TV.
First, I want to give thanks to all these frontline whether you're talking about, whether you're talking about Ebola, the Hunter virus, etc. When we're all being told to be cautious, they are the ones who are leaning in and making sure that they're providing the supports to people. So first, I just want to say thank you to all of them. The second is, I want people to know that on the state levels, this is something that we are taking seriously. That we know that anytime you see these type of movements, anytime you see this type of data, that we have to be able to and be ready to move aggressively to be able to address it. And that's exactly what we're doing in Maryland. That's exactly what we're doing in the state on the state level.
Governor Westmore of Maryland, you've been very generous with your time. avoid some of our technical glitches. We're grateful to you. Thank you.
I'm grateful for you. Thank you.
Don't watch
Thank you,
TV.
Today, as voters head to the polls in 6 states, there are, as we've been discussing with the governor,
Oh, watch
flashing
TV.
bright red warning signs for Republicans and for Donald Trump. Just 37% of Americans approve of the job Donald Trump is doing. In a highly respected new poll, the New York Times Siena poll, it's a 4-point drop since January. Another poll, CBS and YouGov, also has Donald Trump at 37%. A whopping 63% of Americans disapprove of the job Donald Trump is doing. It's not just so low for Donald Trump, right? That would seem obvious. It's a historic low for any president, at least compared to the last two. Nate Cohn from the New York Times puts these awful numbers from Trump in this perspective, writing, quote, while recent presidencies have often been unpopular and polarizing, no president's approval rating has been under 38% for more than a few days in the last 17 years, according to our average. If there has been a floor during this partisan era of politics, Trump's ratings today have fallen to it. There's nothing here to suggest that Trump is in the floor. Just 28% of Americans approve of his handling of the cost of living in that New York Times poll. His handling of inflation is down at 27% in the CBS YouGov poll. 65% of Americans in that poll say Trump's policies are making the economy worse in the short term. 77%, almost 80% of Americans say their incomes are not keeping up with inflation. As Americans are feeling the pain of Donald Trump's failures on the economy, something he ran on, they also see clearly and believe that he is using the presidency to benefit himself personally. The YouGov poll finds that almost 60% of Americans believe Trump is using his office for personal gain. It's not just bad political news, devastating political news for someone as vain as Donald Trump. It also looks bleak politically for his Republican enablers. The New York Times Siena poll shows that Democrats
every one of them
have
needs
an
to be voted
11-point
out,
lead, 50% to 39%.
Staying back. There's supposed to be a check on his power. They're just standing back and saying, oh, you can do whatever you want. We don't care.
Signs that even his base has had enough of him. 37% of Republicans tell the New York Times that they want their party to go in a different direction than Trump. So just how frustrated Trump's base is remains to be seen. He's had some political wins in Indiana. We'll be focusing on that question tonight as Trump turns into a referendum issue, his brand of MAGA Republicanism. He's seeking to oust two Republican incumbents, Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massey and Texas Senator John Cornyn, in favor of die-hard loyalists, Ed Galbraith in Kentucky and scandal-ridden Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. Joining our coverage, Democratic pollster and political analyst Cornell Belcher. Back with us, political analyst, former Senator Claire McCaskill, and former San Antonio Mayor and Housing Secretary under President Obama. Political analyst Julian Castro is here. Let me ask you, Julian, first, what's happening in Texas?
Today's announcement by Donald Trump that he's endorsing the Attorney General Ken Paxton in a runoff a week from today against Senator John Cornyn. I mean, that really gives a leg up to Ken Paxton and has to be welcome news by James Tallarico. Polling has shown that Tallarico is very competitive, the Democrat very competitive against both of them, but a couple of points better against Ken Paxton. And you can understand why. This was a guy that a federal indictment hung over his head for years, got impeached, a whole bunch of baggage that makes him weak, especially in this cycle. And so the latest polling has Tallarico either tied or just ahead of Ken Paxton, and it has been that way ever since Tallarico won the primary in March. So this means that it's going to be a very competitive election. I think that here in Texas the first time in a very long time.
You hear that privately and publicly. I want to show all of you what the thing about Trump 2.0 is this is all out loud, it's all on camera. Here he is talking about what his priorities are as president. Let me read this to you for now. Trump says, quote, I'm doing a job of the collecting lake. Rename the lake, actually. I got so into it, I upgraded it like you wouldn't believe. I'm doing all the walkways outside. You know, I'm doing it. I'm doing it properly, but it is a much bigger job. But you see, it's happening now. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be waterproof. It's a reflecting pool. I hope so. It's going to be reflecting again. I took over a dirty, filthy thing that wasn't open, and it was disgusting. And friends of mine would come to the Lincoln or the Washington, and they would say, quote, "Sir, it's disgusting." I said, "What's disgusting?" "The reflecting lake, the reflecting lake." It's very reflective. I put a thing out yesterday showing the reflection. We did a little test. We wanted to see. It's like a mirror. It's beautiful. That's a quote. I can't believe that he actually said that. That is the man with his hands on the nuclear code. That is also the man that 70% of Americans describe themselves as feeling either, quote, frustrated or angry about when it comes to his approach to the economy. This is the diligence that he never showed around COVID, that he hasn't communicated publicly when it comes to the war in Iran. On the reflecting pool, it is a near obsession.
Well, you know, he may very well be doing a great job on the reflecting pool. So the problem is they're hiring that's implemented the reflecting pool, which is why the pool numbers are so poorly. And let's dig into that a little bit more, Nicole, why his approval numbers are important, or for any president that's important. If you go to the New York Times poll and you look at the approval, disapproval of the president, and looking how voters are breaking that 11-point gap, that 11-point margin by Democrats is really important. I want to say something about that first in a second. But first, so if you look at what's happening underneath there, Nicole, you have 70+% of voters who disapprove of Donald Trump supporting the Democrat candidate, the generic Democrat candidate. That's why the approval is important. Approval, disapproval is important. That's why you don't want your president or the leader of your party to have his or her, unfortunately it always is in this country, his approval ratings that low, because you're getting 70% of those who disapprove are breaking from the opposition party, which puts them in a particularly problematic place. The 11-point gap, Nicole, is really important at polling, because look, back in 2005, 2006, when I was DNC's poster for Chairman Dean, we gradually began to see 5-point, 4-point, 6-point, 8-point, then a 10-point gap. And we sort of saw this wave election coming. And to get a double-digit support for Democrats, because historically structurally, you needed at least a 10 or 11-point generic to see a wave election for Democrats structurally. Although, Nicole, I don't really know if that's true anymore, because through their gerrymandering, through their humorous sort of erasing of Democratic districts, and particularly African-American and Hispanic districts, I would argue, Nicole, that they have broken down their wall, their barrier for breaking up a wave election by making strong Republican districts less strongly Republican. So the 11-point gap now, I actually don't know what's possibly going to happen. I think Democrats could very well pick up more seats than they have historically with a 10 or 11-point gap, because they've eroded away their breakwater strong Republican districts.
Will you explain that, Cornell? I've done this a million times, but just explain how their gerrymander actually makes all the seats more competitive, because it spread out a lot of people who might have voted for.
This is the easiest stuff we do the party.
George, clear. We all need help from time to time. Be an occasional miracle. Is this a drill?
Westbridge Hospital has shut down all the computer systems.
For Democrats who were maybe in one district.
Did you?
Across
You watching the live stream?
Yeah. So typically, look, one of the hardest things to do is take out an incumbent. And we've got incumbents that have, and we talked about before, like typically the House of Representatives is
Why do I have a little
maybe
plus
25,
down there?
maybe 30 seats at
Why do
most.
I have a
Most of them
little
are safe,
plus
and then
down
there's
there?
the seats that are super safe.
That's
So
Oh,
you
it's
take
just
a plus 15
pick up
Republican
trash.
district, and you make that district by diluting it and moving in more Democrats and more minority voters. You take that plus 15 district, which has been way more. Right? It's hard to get away more than plus
What is
15.
that?
You take that plus 15 seat,
Don't worry
you make
about
that
that.
plus
Leave that
8,
alone.
You
or you make that
do
plus 7,
sunglasses?
and then you have a wave election, which we've seen from the off-year elections and the special elections, where Democrats have outperformed sometimes 19, 20 points what they've historically been doing. And so that all of a sudden, you've got a whole lot of Republican seats that are now plus 5 or plus
Stop.
6
Go watch TV.
that are
Go watch TV.
reachable by a wave election, which they would not have been reachable by a wave election if they had.
Right, it can be a smaller way, like me, because you now have smaller margins for error. There's so much more in the polls. I want to keep digging through them for all of you. I have to sneak in a break. No one's going anywhere. Also ahead, Donald Trump's retribution tour heads to Kentucky, as he said, where Trump is obsessed with trying to defeat the Republican Congressman on behalf of the latest Padres ahead as well. Also ahead,
For a little bit. Settle down. Quit jumping around. I said settle down. What's the first thing you do? Go out there and watch TV. God.
The Trump administration is corrupt. It is easily the single most corrupt and longest administration in American history.
He's a criminal. What do
And
you
it was
expect?
exceedingly difficult to debate that simple proposition.
Adam Schiff got up and went straight for Trump and the entire Republicans, and it was epic.
Because notwithstanding all of the whataboutism we occasionally hear, there is really no
Okay, watch
denying
whatever you want.
the self-dealing by unelected billionaires like Elon Musk, the
Watch
presidential
TV, go
meme
ahead.
coins,
You
the
don't have to watch my live.
quotes, the dismissal of corruption cases in exchange for help on the president's policy agenda,
Watch some
the
cartoons.
dismissal of national security personnel, not on the basis of national security, but on the word of right-wing cranks, the deportation of someone to a maximum security prison in another country on the basis of a clerical error, the mass illegal firings, the reckless use of commercial apps for classified information, the scorning of court orders, the phony math to hide the deficit exploding impact of tax cuts.
Tired of boring sanitized feeds? X-Scroll has you covered. No censorship, no boundaries, just real intensity. Think you're ready?
Go ahead.
Hit download and step inside. Are you still paying for VIP access to watch short dramas? Now you don't have to do that anymore, because Pine Drama is now live. There are so many short plays here. Everything you can imagine, and even things you can't, are all here. Don't miss this completely free short-form video app. Here you can choose from romantic, suspenseful, or comedic themes. There are many options for you to choose from. New short dramas are released every day with high-definition video and fast-loading speeds, so you can watch them.
For billionaires, the attacks on Social Security, calling it a Ponzi scheme, but people are making the attacks, those that are making the attacks are conmen who want to raid the hard-earned retirement funds belonging to our nation's seniors and veterans. The swamp is full, it is overflowing, and Donald Trump is standing right in the middle of it, up to his ears in the filth. And it is plainly obvious to anyone who is watching that the president simply doesn't care about anyone but himself. Not you, not your families, Certainly not the American people. He is in himself. While your retirement savings are being wiped out, he's playing the back nine at his country club. Oh, Caddy, would you hand me a number 6? Now the Trump administration's abundant corruption doesn't happen in a vacuum. His corrupt self-dealing doesn't just boost his own bottom line and that of his wealthy donors. It hurts everyday Americans. It hurts Californians. It hurts all of us. So let me give you some examples. Days before Donald Trump was sworn in, he took one of the most obviously corrupt actions of his political career. And that's saying quite a lot. The president took to Twitter to announce that he was launching his own cryptocurrency, a meme coin. He would maintain a vast ownership of the stock in it, but anyone in the world could buy in. From a Chinese national under indictment in the U.S. to any sultan in the Middle East looking to buy influence, and predictably the meme coin just skyrocketed. On paper, he appears to have made billions on it. It's possible he made more in one day from this joke cryptocurrency than he had made in his entire life up to that point. You might recall a press conference he had when a reporter asked him at the beginning of his presidency, are you going to continue to traffic in this coin, in this currency that's making you a lot of money? And the president's question to him was, well, how much is it making me? And when the reporter said, well, it's making you a lot, the president was delighted. Turned to, presumably off camera, Elon Musk, one of the billionaires, and said, well, that may not be much of these guys. And there was great laughter behind. The corruption is out in the open. And the thing about this new currency is that it's a message to anyone who wants to curry favor with the president. Whether it's foreign governments or oligarchs or wealthy Wall Street billionaires, it gives them a chance to literally buy Donald Trump's favor. Directly, corruptly, and unmistakably. Now, who does that ultimately hurt? The short answer is everyone else. So maybe a billionaire is buying a bigger tax break, but that means hardworking Americans are going to have to pay for it. Or maybe it's someone under indictment for fraud who did not get their case dismissed by Donald Trump's DOJ for the right price. That hurts every American because it just invites all kinds of further corruption. Now the president's kids are in the crypto business, and there are even more opportunities for graft. In other parts of the world where there are long traditions of such corruption, they would be called princelings. There's a name for them. They're called princelings. Well, congratulations, America. We now have our own princelings, and they are called Eric and Don Jr. Now, as it turns out, it's not just by buying Trump meme coin or the kids' crypto investments that may help the Justice Department to drop your case or get the Justice Department to go after your enemies. Since Donald Trump's first day in office, he has methodically and meticulously purged the Department of Justice of anyone who is not blindly loyal to him. Not loyal to the rule of law, mind you, not loyal to their oath, but loyal to the person of Donald Trump. That is and will be the only standard in this department. It is not a coincidence that the top 3 lawyers running the Justice Department, including Attorney General Pam Bondi, are all former Trump criminal defense lawyers. Their client was and always will be the multiply indicted and convicted felon who occupies the Oval Office. So how does this hurt everyday Americans? Well, it does so in a few ways. First, it means that the department's resources will be focused on all the wrong things. The DOJ should be focused on keeping Americans safe. It should be focused on cracking down on violent criminals and addressing their fentanyl crisis. It should be hunting out fraudsters who scam Americans. But instead, they're focused on retribution, on going after Trump's enemies, on helping those who are loyal to him. And wasting countless hours and resources in the process.
Press and global like games. You can buy, sell, and trade anywhere. Complete your quest at global like games.
But also Trump is using the DOJ now to protect his friends and allies. You don't have to look any further than the case in New York. The mayor of New York, Eric Adams, indicted on serious corruption charges. A mayor who then, seeing the writing on the wall, pursues a kind of quid pro quo with the president. He goes down to Mar-a-Lago, and the quid pro quo eventually becomes as plain as day. It is out in the open. The president's own border czar does a joint interview sitting next to the mayor on Fox and Friends on their couch to lay out the stark quid pro quo in explicit detail. All left unsaid by Trump's border czar were the words "or else." The mayor would get his case dismissed, and in exchange, he would pursue the president's policy agenda when it comes to immigration. If the mayor was guilty of serious corruption and bribery of providing political favors to foreign nations in exchange for lavish gifts, and even the Trump DOJ doesn't deny the evidence against him, that just doesn't matter. Just doesn't matter. Not if he is a political ally of the president. So who does that hurt? Well, it hurts New Yorkers. It invites more corruption in the city of New York. But this trend, of course, hurts everyone. A big corporation screwing over consumers can seemingly prevent investigation or prosecution now by kissing the ring. This takes a trip to Mar-a-Lago. A politician can continue to leverage government resources for their own gain, knowing that they may never be held accountable for their actions. You can even storm this building, and they did. You can storm right into this chamber, and they did. You can trample American democracy and beat police officers in the name of this president, and not only will your prosecution be dropped, but you will be pardoned and celebrated. And beyond that, the public servants who prosecuted you will be removed, replaced, or demoted. They will be purged. By using the Justice Department as a shield to protect his friends and a sword to go after his enemies, it is the American people who will lose. Now, just down the street from the DOJ, at the Food and Drug Administration, there is something less talked about, but also quite sinister going on. Elon Musk and his many companies owns one called Neuralink. Now, this is a company that is aiming essentially to implant computers into people's brains. Now, while I am not personally one to want a Elon-sponsored device shoved into my cerebral cortex, I do believe in responsible innovation, and I even celebrate it. But unfortunately for responsible innovation, within weeks of entering office, Elon and Doge had fired essentially the entire team at the FDA's Office of Neurological and Physical Medicine Devices. You guessed it, the office in charge of reviewing his product. Gone. That sent a pretty clear message through the agency. Get on board with Elon, or you're out. It feels like par for the course for Elon, but it is really unprecedented in this country. Especially damaging is the fact that this also occurs at a time when they are just massively laying off people at the FDA. Huge cuts in the folks that make sure our medicine and food are safe. Not only does that mean life-saving medicine doesn't get reviewed and deployed faster to the American people, it means that dangerous stuff gets into circulation much longer before it can be stopped. Or maybe if it just gets to slip through with a wink and a nod and a big enough contribution to the Trump meme coin. And if you thought Elon stopped at the FDA, well, I have some more news for you. Doge has pulled the exact same move at other agencies, providing oversight over him or with which he has contracts. The FAA, where Elon Musk has desires for contracts for his Starlink satellite system. The Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, where Elon's companies face a significant threat of oversight, or at least they did before he made that agency largely go away. Or NASA, where Elon's SpaceX has billions in contracts. The Pentagon, more contracts for Elon.
What's hurting her and your daughter?
Maria, it's time.
And now, FDA. You can't find or correct self-healing than that. Not in our history. You may be able to find it in other countries, but until this administration, you couldn't find it.
Be right back.
Adam Skiff just said out loud what millions of Americans have been watching happen in real time. Donald Trump promised to drain the swamp, but according to Skiff, he didn't drain anything. He flooded Washington with billionaires, loyalists, crypto hustlers, political retaliation, and people who see government as a business opportunity instead of public service. And honestly, look at the pattern here. Trump built his entire political identity around convincing working-class Americans that he was fighting corrupt elites. That was the sales pitch from day one. He was supposedly the outsider who couldn't be bought. The guy who was going to stand up to corporate greed and clean up the mess in Washington. But what Skiff laid out was the exact opposite of that image. What we're seeing now is an administration where billionaires don't just influence policy, they practically sit inside the government itself. And Skiff went directly at Elon Musk for that reason. Think about how insane this would sound if it happened under a Democratic president. Imagine if a Democratic administration fired regulators overseeing the billionaire donors' companies, while that billionaire continued receiving government contracts. Conservatives would be screaming corruption 24 hours a day. Fox News would run countdown clocks. Congress would launch hearings every week. But when it happens around Trump, suddenly the people who once claimed to care about ethics go completely silent. That's the double standard Skiff is countering. And the crypto angle might honestly be one of the most disturbing parts of this entire thing. Skiff described Trump's meme coin operation as basically an open invitation for wealthy individuals and foreign interests to buy influence directly. That's what makes it different from traditional corruption. It's not hidden. It's not subtle. It's happening right out in the open where everybody can see it. That moment Skiff talked about, where Trump was reportedly excited about how much money he was making from the coin, perfectly captures the process surrounding this administration. There's always another scheme, another grift, another opportunity to turn political power into personal profit. And while all that's happening, average Americans are getting squeezed harder every single year. That contrast is what makes people angry. Because while billionaires are allegedly cashing in, regular people are dealing with rising costs, unstable retirement accounts, healthcare fees, student debt, housing costs, and wages that still don't match inflation. Skiff's point was that corruption isn't just some abstract ethics issue. It has real-world consequences. When the wealthy buy access and influence, everybody else pays the price. Look at the tax cut argument he made. Republicans always frame these billionaire tax cuts as economic growth strategies. But who actually benefits the most? The wealthiest Americans and giant corporations. Meanwhile, programs that ordinary people depend on suddenly become too expensive. Medicaid gets targeted. Social services get cut. Social security offices close. Public agencies lose staff. And then the same politicians who cause the damage to the government doesn't work. That's the cycle Skiff is describing. Break the institution, starve it, undermine public trust in it, then use the chaos as justification to dismantle it. And let's talk about Social Security for a second, because Skiff clearly wanted that point to land emotionally with older Americans. When people hear billionaires...
Anybody thinks Social Security is an entitlement is a goddamn fool. You've been paying into it ever since your first job. That is our money.
These aren't abstract policies.
So if they want to take it away, they need to repay us plus interest. They don't need to take it away. There's no need for that crap.
That's That's why Democrats
Leave it
keep
the hell alone. Don't privatize it.
How is government actually working? Because if ordinary Americans are constantly told that there's no money for health care, no money for infrastructure, no money for schools, no money for social programs,
No money for anybody but billionaires and wars.
and corporate subsidies, people start noticing the problem. And Skip's comments about the Justice Department were brutal. Skip basically argued that Trump sees the DOJ not as an independent institution, but as a weapon. Reward allies, punish enemies, protect loyalists, go after critics. That's why he brought up the Eric Adams situation and the broader concern about political favoritism. Whether people agree with Skip or not politically, the bigger issue he's raising is whether the justice system to one man becomes more important than loyalty to the law itself. Because once people stop believing the system is fair, the damage spreads fast. People lose trust in elections. They lose trust in courts. They lose trust in law enforcement. They lose trust in democracy itself. And honestly, that's already happening. The January 6th section of Skip's speech was especially intense because he was trying to remind people of something Democrats believe the country is slowly becoming numb to. A violent attack on the Capitol happened. Police officers were assaulted. Lawmakers were evacuated. And now many of the people involved are treated like political martyrs by parts of the right. That transformation still shocks a lot of Americans. And Skip's argument is that pardoning or celebrating those actions sends a dangerous message that loyalty to Trump outweighs loyalty to democratic institutions. Agree or disagree, that's the core fear Democrats are trying to drive home heading into future elections. The other thing that stood out in Skip's speech was how aggressively he framed Trump as somebody fundamentally disconnected from ordinary Americans. The golf course line was clearly designed to hit emotionally. While families worry about retirement savings and healthcare costs, Trump is portrayed as sitting comfortably with billionaires at private clubs, completely insulated from the consequences of the policies his administration pushes. That image matters politically because Democrats are trying to redefine Trump not as a populist outsider, but as the ultimate insider. A billionaire president serving billionaires while convincing working people he's fighting for them. And whether Democrats succeed with that message could define the next election cycle. Because here's the reality Republicans don't like talking about. Trump's movement was built partly on economic frustration. A lot of voters supported him because they felt abandoned by both parties. They wanted somebody who would challenge corporate power and shake up the system. But if Democrats can successfully convince enough Americans that Trump became exactly what he claimed to oppose, corrupt elites enriching themselves while everyone else struggles, then that becomes a serious political vulnerability. And that's why Skip spent so much time nomming specific agencies, specific policies, and specific examples. He wasn't trying to sound polite or bipartisan. He was building a case piece by piece. DOJ, FDA, IRS, Social Security, Medicaid, contracts. Crypto, tax cuts. He wanted viewers walking away feeling like every part of government is being bent to the interests of wealthy insiders. Whether that argument sticks politically is another question entirely, but Democrats clearly believe this is one of the strongest attacks they have against Trump right now, not immigration. Not just January 6th. Not only democracy, corruption, billionaires, crypto schemes, government contracts, tax cuts for the rich, cuts for everyone else. That's the battlefield they want.
All right, now own every
like that, you can see exactly
piece of
how
land
aggressive
on
Democrats
this
are
map.
preparing to get heading into the next
Can buy
political
no
fight.
more.
This wasn't a normal Senate speech. This sounded like the opening argument in a political war Democrats think they can win by painting Trump not as a rebel against the system, but as the face of a new billionaire-controlled system himself.
Be right
If
back.
you think Skip was right, or if you think this was just partisan political theater, drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more aggressive political breakdowns and reactions like this, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because this fight in Washington is only getting more intense.
Access changes people's lives.
Actions to me.
See what happens when you listen to me? I am connected to the might be more underneath the hood.
without a smoking gun, you will lose.
You should get out the morning.
Blood flow does not equal arousal. That's what Blue Chew Gold is here to solve. This hormone formula activates your natural sex drive and boosts arousal in your brain. So you feel a deeper connection, not just physical readiness. Don't settle for half a solution. Go to BlueChew.com now to get 1 month free with a quarterly delivery.
Not taking place, that was definite. Because they would have had a nuclear weapon within a matter of weeks. But that took place, that was a setback. But look at the number of missiles they were able to buy and make over the last 6 months. And those missiles were aimed at various countries. Now when you look at over 1,000 missiles shot at like UAE, they were looking to take over the Middle East. We got there first. Lucky, I'll tell you what, the Middle East and those countries, very rich countries, are very lucky that I was president instead of somebody else.
When it comes to U.S. action in Iran.
I don't think so. No, we get along very well on this. He was, I would say, philosophically a little bit different than me. I think he was maybe less enthusiastic about going, but he was quite enthusiastic. But I felt it was something we had to do. I didn't feel we had a choice. If we didn't do it, they would have done it to us. I felt, based on the negotiations that were being had by Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Marco and Pete and everybody,
So not a 15 here?
I felt that they were looking to tap us along before they hit, and I thought they were going to hit. And if they hit us first, that would have been a very bad thing. In the back, Liz, in the back. About the strait, you mean? Yeah, well, I want to keep it open. I want to keep it good. You know, it doesn't pertain to us so much as it does to China. We're really helping China here and other countries because they get a lot of their energy from the straits. But hey, look, we have a good relationship with China. It's my honor to do it. Yeah.
Leader, you have called him an unacceptable choice. So does he have a target on his back, and how can he...
I don't want to say whether or not he does because that would be inappropriate. But hey, look, I had a target on my back because, as you people know pretty well, they caught the assassin that was after me. So we just got that first. But they caught the assassin.
The one you paid,
they have
asshole?
him now in custody that was after me. So, you know, but people don't like to mention that, but they did catch him. And I'd like to congratulate our military, Secret Service, FBI, all of the people that worked on that, but they did. Yeah, please. So,
I do not want to listen to that. Okay.
Across the country in 6 states, and the pro-pedophilia sect of the Republican Party took it home. They win. That's who the Republicans are right now. Thomas Massie lost his House race to the Trump-backed opponent, Ed Galbraith, after AIPAC and other Israel-aligned lobby groups spent more than $15.8 million on the race. Pretty bizarre. Ruling Kentucky is getting that much outside foreign interest in on the race. This is what he said in his concession speech. Let's play the clip.
Clear that I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galbraith in Tel Aviv.
All right, Angie. I was just thinking it is a really, really telling proposition that standing up for children that have been trafficked and sexually abused and raped is a problem. Standing up for those people
keeps you from winning your race. I think Massey voted with Trump like over 90% of the time, yet he stood up for victims and survivors of Epstein. And the more I think about the Israeli-American connection, I remember reading in Kamala Harris's book, Netanyahu wanted Trump to win because Trump is so easily manipulated and controlled. And now AIPAC and the Israeli government, they want to keep Trump in power. Do that by putting money in races that do not benefit you other than to keep Trump in power, and it is disgusting. I'm actually really glad that Massey lost. I disagree with what former President Obama, who I love, he recently said in an interview that he wanted a strong Republican Party. And I want the Republican Party done, over with. I'm glad they are showing us who they are. Furthermore, there has been all of this stuff, this hopeful desire of corporate media to say, oh, Trump's shedding support. And I have too much PTSD. I've lived around Republicans my whole life. I know that these people may say in a poll right now they're disapprove of the job the president is doing, but they would gladly go quadruple Trump should he find a way to usurp the amendment that would keep him to 2 terms. Thomas Massey, you're correct. He voted with the president 91% of the time. For me personally, that's 91% too much. I'm tired of Democrats like, oh my God, a Republican agrees with us. Oh my God, here's Liz Cheney agreeing with us. Liz Cheney lied to the American public and said that American doctors murdered babies after they were born. She has no place on a stage with Democrats. I appreciate that a year Thomas Massey opposes pedophilia. I refuse to have a parade for him. I appreciate that he is anti-war. For me, these are bare minimum asks. And so, I personally do not want a strong Republican.
We split the rent.
I live in a Republican supermajority state.
He hasn't been working. He's gotten behind on his rent.
Down on the
No, he doesn't need it anymore. He's been talking.
Yeah, but he hasn't got paid yet. You don't get paid for this
But sometimes he gets paid. Sometimes he does.
For corporations.
I'm
And
telling
so
you,
this is the kind of race I want to see. I appreciate his bipartisanship support. On it. Good riddance, Republican Party. You are now a party of pedophiles. You are an anti-family death cult, period. Moving along, great news in the Democratic primaries. Chris Rabb wins his. Pump this up. There's a new Democratic Socialist in Congress. DSA congratulates our member Chris Rabb on his election for Pennsylvania's 3rd Congressional District. This victory would not have been possible without the work of thousands of working class people across the world organizing for better. We will be with Congressman Rabb every step of the way in the fight to abolish ICE, free Palestine, and win Medicare for all. And what's interesting about this race,
Settle down.
endorsed one of his opponents in the Democratic primary. AOC endorsed Chris Rabb. Why is this important? Because we have the real 2 parties that I would like to see as the major parties, which are the Democrat lights, the Diet MAGA, Cory Bookers of the world, who are constantly supporting corporations and taking money from these same donors that are funding fascism. What's so hypocritical about this race, in my opinion, is Cory Booker refused to endorse Zoran Mamdani. He was talking to a CNN reporter, Manu Raju. He said, oh, I don't endorse races out of my state. Cory Booker's from New Jersey. The opponent, Chris Rabb, he endorsed Pennsylvania. This is a Pennsylvania race. What is the through line from this Tommy Massey story that we started to Cory Booker right here? AIPAC money, pro-Israel money. That is the through line. It breaks candidates. And when you are voting for a government that is committing a genocide, something in you breaks. So how are these candidates trustworthy? How can we trust a candidate that will take money from corporations that are looking to dismantle safety regulations in our infrastructure, in our economy, and furthermore, that are funding a war criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu.
You're right back.
So these are two, in my opinion, two great wins for human decency, for life. The Republican Party thinks they have a monopoly, that they are so pro-life. No, they're not. When you are voting with and for the Israeli government to kill children, to kill journalists, you are uniquely and on the record as anti-life.
I completely agree with you. And with the wealth inequality and people going bankrupt because they have cancer, I think that this socialist term has been a buzzword forever. And I think now when you look at how disparate incomes are and how expensive it is to live, if people will go and look at what it means to be a socialist, I think it becomes less scary. Abolishing ICE, freeing Palestine, and health insurance for everybody, that's not radical in my opinion. It really isn't.
Right, and I just want to draw a distinction here between the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, and like Karl Marx socialism. There is a distinct difference in policy in these two issues. The Democratic Socialists of America are about putting workers' priorities, their wages, their benefits over that of the corporation. You see somebody like the CEO of Starbucks that makes $100 million, somewhere in that ballpark, and then Starbucks workers making minimum wage. Same with Amazon. That disparity is something that we have to have a party that advocates for workers. Democratic Socialists of America are not about dismantling capitalism. That's not what it's about. So it's a really important distinction that people understand.
We have oligarchy.
Donald Trump is robbing the American people in the single most corrupt action ever taken by a president. Let's pop this up. Minus Touch reports Blanche shields Trump in a newly posted order signed by acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. The Department of Justice states the federal government is now permanently barred from pursuing a wide range of tax-related claims and reviews against Donald Trump, his family members, and affiliated companies. The order says the United States releases, waives, acquits, and forever discharges Trump and is forever barred and precluded from pursuing claims, examinations, reviews, appeals, monetary relief, and other actions against Trump and related or affiliated individuals, including family members, trusts, parent and sister companies, and subsidiaries. So, this is what Democrats need to embrace right now. MAGA is the party of pedophilia. MAGA is the party of corruption. The fraud czar, the person in charge of cracking the whip on this corruption, is none other than Vice President J.D. Vance. Take it to the bank campaign on it. Let this be who they are. Trump has flooded the zone so much with all of the corruption. The whole bombing of the Iranian schoolgirls is just completely out of the news cycle now. Who ordered that hit? How did it happen? Why was it a double tap? Because the corruption and the war crimes are daily and they flood the zone. So we must take a message to the American people that the Republican Party rejects anybody who opposes pedophilia, and the Republican Party rejects any form of law, order, and accountability. And it needs to be said over, over, and over, and over, and over again. How could the Republicans been so successful at this myth, this pathological lie, that they're great guardians of the economy, that they're great businessmen? Because they've said it over and over and over. They've repeated the lie so many times that people believe it's true. They believe it's true so much so that they've made it a part of their own personal voting identity. So likewise, as the zone is flooded with all of this corruption, all of these war crimes, we must, as an opposition party, take this to the bank and repeat it over and over. MAGA is a pro-pedophilia, anti-business, pro-corruption, anti-law and order, death cult. This is a death cult. What Trump is doing with the EPA, they're making make sure water isn't regulated for chemicals anymore. All of these things are going to lead to cancer clusters and death. And they do it all while looking up in their Bible and thumbing their nose at human decency. Pine Drama, the new TikTok short drama app, and it's totally free. And thumbing their nose at human decency. I think you're exactly right, and I think the way you communicate it is exactly right. And the only thing I'll add is, nothing tells me that you are involved in criminal conspiracies and corruption, like having your DOJ sign an order that nobody can touch any or investigate any of your companies, your children. And here's the deal. Trump, because he is so corrupt, he is in every business on the planet. I mean, crypto, memes, all that shit. Will any court approve this? I sincerely doubt it, but then I think, tick, 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 tick. I think it's something more sinister is even going on here. I think he is priming the soil. Right now he's saying, I'm above the law. You cannot, the IRS cannot audit me. They cannot audit my family. They cannot audit any of my companies. So that is stealing money from the federal government is what that is. The next step is just full-blown writing checks from the Treasury to himself. So the $1.776 billion trust fund plus this no audits for anybody that's connected to me is going to equal the Treasury is mine. Scholar Ruth Van explained to me on an episode that he believes the United States of America is his. All of this land is his. All of the businesses are his. The stock market is his. The White House is his. The military is his. The DOJ is his. The next step in this is he's going to believe all of the money, the trillions of dollars in the Treasury are his. And so I believe he is priming the public for that next step. And the Republican Party is going to allow him to do it. I want to caution everybody in buying into that Republicans are leaving Trump. They are not. The polling shows over and over and over again 80+% approval rating within the Republican Party. Thomas Massey learned that the hard way. And here's Todd Blanche on Capitol Hill answering for the president's historic corruption. Let's play the clip.
You're not going to submit this proposal to any federal judge, or there is no judge. Any independent authority. What does that mean, an independent authority? It means not somebody who's getting to pick 5 of the members who's the president's former personal attorney. That would be somebody who would be independent. I'm the acting attorney general, okay? And the fact that I used to be President Trump's lawyer is just a fact. But I'm the acting attorney general. So don't say the president's former personal lawyer would do something. The acting attorney general would do something. Mr. Attorney General.
All right, I mean, clearly this guy is just as unhinged and emotional as all of the other people in the cabinet. I mean, these men this is the group of people that are like, we can't have women in office. They're so emotional. And then they get on TV and in these Senate judiciary hearings or these Senate hearings, and they just start bedwetting all over the place. It's not only is it a myth. Republicans are so about law and order, and they're so about the business, and they're so about we are so good with business and cutting the deficit. It's a lie. They're also emotional basket cases, entitled emotional basket cases, every single one of them. I want to say something about Chris Van Hollen. I beat him on Democrats a lot. It's the corporate Democrats. Chris Van Hollen constantly and consistently is drawing attention to the injustices of the world, specifically a Palestinian American journalist who was killed by Israel 3 years ago. He always brings this back up. Where's the investigation? Where is the accountability? And so we need to appoint Democrats that do not take
so I'll probably end it and probably come back later on today.
Organizations, whether it be AIPAC, Big Oil, Big Pharma, Big whatever. The same people that are funding these incompetent, emotional basket cases. We cannot be an opposition party when Cory Booker is taking money from organizations that are rah, sis, boom, bah, with a war criminal. It's not going to work.
All right, it's
no, I completely agree. And
9:05,
it always goes back to
May
John
3rd,
Roberts and
second
his
year of
court,
this map.
Citizens United, and
Corky Duke
that's where it
Farminator.
Not
Come
saying
with me
that there
if you want
wasn't
to farm.
donations and corruption
And
before.
this is Farming Simulator 22. Michigan Farms Map Michigan Pizza and Donut Farm Part 54. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all next time, probably later on today. Bye.